This video, we're going to determine if a 15-minute coaching session with a bowling expert will enhance students' bowling scores. Each participant bowled one game without coaching assistance and the second game after a coaching session. We also want to determine if there is an effect with coaching, how significant is that effect? So the null hypothesis is that there is no significant difference in bowling with 15 minutes of coaching from a bowling expert and bowling without 15 minutes of coaching with an expert bowler. So after downloading my SPSS data, I'm going to transform, compute variable. My target is going to be DIFF, which is the difference. And then my numeric expression, I'm going to submit game two minus game one, and I'm going to click OK. Now that I have my differences, I'm going to proceed with determining if those differences are normally distributed. And I will do that using the Shapiro-Wilk test. However, before, if I just glanced at this, it does look like there are differences. In game one, Alvarez went from 95 to 113, which was an 18-point difference. Barber went from 66 to 96, which was a 30-point difference. So now let's go and look at our Shapiro-Wilk test. I'm going to go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and Explore. I'm going to move my difference into the dependence list. Then I'm going to go to Plot. I'm going to uncheck the stem and leaf, check the histogram, and check for normality plots with test. I will continue and I will click OK. When we look at this data, the Shapiro-Wilks test gives us a 0.337. We know that the 0.337 is greater than 0.05. So this tells us that the distribution is normal. Since it is, we can use the paired t-test. So now we will go to Analyze. We move this over. Compare means and proportions, and we will go down to the paired samples t-test. We know that the variable 1 will be game 1, and the variable 2 will be game 2. We click OK. So now when we go to the paired sample statistics, we see the mean for game 1 is 90.0 with a number of 20 and a standard deviation of 13.54. We also see game 2, which is the game that was after 15 minutes of individualized coaching. We see a slight increase in the mean of 94.95 with the number of 20, standard deviation of 14.318. If we go down to the pair samples correlation, we see a correlation of 0.556. When we go down to the paired samples t-test, we again see the mean of a negative 4.950, standard deviation of 13.13. We go over to our t-value, which is a negative 1.685, with our degrees of freedom at 19, and our two-sided p-value at 0.108. When we look at that significance of 0.108, we know that it is greater than 0.05. So therefore, we fail to reject the hypothesis. There is no significant difference in the mean scores. So for my final analysis, a paired samples t-test was conducted to determine the difference in providing no coaching versus a single 15-minute individual coaching session with an expert bowler to enhance students' bowling scores of 20 students between games 1 and 2. There was a difference in the scores, but no significant difference in the scores for game 1, which again had a mean of 90.00 and a standard deviation of 13.54, with game 2 with the means of 94.95, standard deviation of 14.31. The conditions for the t-value with the degrees of freedom of 19 was equal to 1.68, with the p-value of 0.108. Since the p-value is greater than 0.05, we fail to reject the hypothesis. To further investigate, these results suggest that 15 minutes with an expert bowler increases the results by 4.95. This increase does not significantly enhance the student's bowling scores. The observed change is 4.95%. This is not a meaningful improvement in the score. Four more pins are not significant. I will imply that more training is needed or more training time is needed to see a significant improvement in scores. This concludes my analysis. Thank you.